Hi, this is Nancy Reynolds. I just am so happy to be here and so happy that you've all been able to join us for the Global Share Fair. I'm not going to take much time. You're looking at me. I'm going to put us right down to the desk, on the desktop here, and show you my card. This is from the Beauty of the Earth stamp set. I've also got the dies. And may I say that these dies have the cutest little birds in them. I really like those. The beautiful designer series paper, which coordinates with all these wonderful colors. I have chosen Misty Moonlight as my base card. So here's my card. It's a fancy fold. I was watching Dina Rico, a demonstrator in the United States, and I texted her and asked her if I could case her card because it's such a cool fold. See, opens up, stands like this. And you know how sometimes with fancy folds, there's no room to write? You want to write notes to your friends? There's room on this one. And because the pretty should not end at the card or the inside, I have decorated my envelope. So I want to talk about fancy folds because I love fancy folds. As you know, you've probably seen many of them. Move this out a little bit. I like when something's a little new and different for me, I like to make a template out of white cardstock. So this is 11 inches long by 5.5 inches wide. You are not going to get two cards out of a piece of cardstock with this particular fold. You can score it at 4 inches, 5 3/4 inches, 7.5 inches, and 9 1/4 inches. And on these last two score lines, you're going to cut. I measured in 1 5/8 inch from this side, 1 5/8 inch from this side, and cut between the two spots. So here it is. I obviously put things together upside down when I'm doing the templates, but it just makes more sense to me. So these fold in, this one is out. So there's our base. I also played around. We're going to cut one piece of white cardstock, 7.5 by 5 1/4 inches. And that's the one we fold in half that's going to allow us to have writing room. For designer series paper, I cut 2 at 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I cut 4 at 1.5 by 1 3/8 inches. And then for the front, I cut a square of white 2 1/4 inches square, and a square 2.5 inches of the cardstock. So it's just a little bit bigger. I decided to offset it and make a diamond because it made me happy. Then I cut 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches of designer series paper, 2.5 by 1.5 inches cardstock, and that's this little piece right here, this little decorative piece. And then I decided I needed to do that in metric. So I cut myself a piece of paper 30 centimeters long by 15 centimeters wide. Again, you don't get two cards out of this cardstock. And then I just started cutting. I cut in, I figured since this was 15 centimeters, I could do just at 5 centimeters and 5 centimeters measuring in and cut my little piece that's going to stick out and hold the decorative part. And I'll go in, I will have this all in a chart, and I will post it in the explanation of this video so that you'll have these pieces. You don't have to write them down. This one is 20 centimeters by 14 centimeters, and I folded it in half. I cut 2 at 14 by 6, 14.6 centimeters by 4.6 centimeters, and I cut 4 at 4.7 centimeters by 4.6 centimeters. And I did not measure the decorative piece. So I will get all of this in, and I will then work on the measurements for the decorative piece that goes onto this, the focal point. So I'm setting those aside so I can't lose them, so I can work on them. because I want to give you good measurements. And I have to say thank you to Tracy Held, who sent me a card. So I have the metric card size, and I have the envelope. And so I double checked to make sure that would fit in the envelope. Oh, my goodness. I'm feeling kind of proud of myself with that, even though it's not quite in finalized form. So I just want to show you briefly, and I've already taken a little bit of time that I didn't want to. I make sure that this piece measured, okay, 1 5/8 inches. 1 5/8 inches. That is on my cutting guide. And then I just plopped this down, and I cut down, and then I cut up between the two score lines towards the end, away from that 4-inch piece. And if you make a mistake and you cut the wrong ones, you can always put cardstock on the back and cover up your problem. There's where I made that extra cut. So I just thought extra cardstock would be perfect. It's very decorative, that one. So let's get busy. Let's see. This folds down. This folds out while the two sides fold in. And I'm going to set that aside because I thought we would get our stamping done first. As an afterthought, at about an hour ago, I decided that really the inside needed something. And so I pulled out the tree and I stamped it off once, and then I stamped it off twice. And I'm using cinnamon cider, which is one of our coordinating colors. And I did a 3rd generation stamp just here in the middle. So it's pretty, but it's light enough that I can write over it. Because after all, our thought was, making this card with the fold, is that we would have more writing room. This is going to be decorated in a minute. I thought since we're stamping, we should do all of our stamping all at once. So I've got with photopolymer stamps, remember we want to have a cush under them because they're not like the red rubber. There's no foam pad underneath this. So you get a better stamp, especially with a large, and I know that some of you are commenting, but according to Switcher Studio, there was a problem, and I cannot see any comments, which is very sad. I'm so sorry. I will answer every single one of them when I'm able to get on my computer after my presentation. So I'm using Misty Moonlight, which was our other color, and the sentiment I chose is "Friendships refresh the soul," which I think is absolutely true and beautiful. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of seal. I want you to know that not only do I have this seal with me, I have another one. Because this one looks like it might run out. And I'm just going to put this on here. Let's see. That looks good to me. Then it's very simple. Let's see. Let's take, I cut 2 little pieces of DSP. Cute little short ones. They may be a little bit long, and I can trim them with my scissors. I feel really bad that I can't see your comments. I'm not sure exactly what I did wrong. I'm sure it's me and not the program. So I do hope I'm live. It would be bad if I wasn't. Here we go. I cut out, using one of the dies, I cut the tree trunk out, or the trunk and the limbs, the little bare tree, and I put adhesive sheets on the back. Unfortunately, this is a little piece of leftover designer series paper that I had, and I didn't have it all over, so I'm probably going to need to put, here's my take your pick tool. I think it was Tracy said we can't live without it, and that is true. So I'm going to take off the backing, and then put a little designer series paper on, or not designer series paper, a little bit of Tombow multi-purpose glue on the edges of my tree branches. That's like work. Now I'm stuck to it. I'm just going to dab little drops on, just to make sure I get this also adhered down. I did learn from Sandra, as I watch her with her tweezers, so I am trying to use tweezers. It's actually better, it's less messy. And I told you about those lovely little birds. I don't know if you noticed the designer series paper I chose looks like blue sky on the back. So I decided they're bluebirds. And I put a little dollop of glue and put them in my tree. I have so enjoyed the birds this year. In fact, I have a mother bird with a nest with 4 little eggs. I'm not sure what kind she is. I'm sure she's some type of a finch. She's not really very big. And she has decided to nest in one of my hanging baskets. And may I say that she gets quite perturbed with me when I absolutely have to water it. It's pretty exciting when she chirps at me, she scolds me. I'm very careful. But if I let the basket die, she will lose all of her wonderful cover. Then I'm just going to center this on that 4-inch piece, and we'll call the inside good. The rest is just as simple. It's just a little glue on the edges. And I do like to use glue because it gives wiggle room, and I need wiggle room. I am not perfect. Sometimes my imperfections jump up and smack me in the face. Here we are. Okay, now we've got these 4 little ones that are going in these little spots. I was very careful, I think. I managed to cut them, because this was directional paper, and I cut them so the trees aren't upside down. Yay! Since I've been known to cut things wrong. All right, there's one. Now, believe it or not, we are so close to being done. 2. That's what makes this part so fun. It looks like it. You can't even figure out how I couldn't even figure out how it was made. I had to have directions. But once I got it done and everything cut, they went together so fast. There we are. Let's see. Open this up. Oh, here it is. This is going right here on the front. I'm just going to, and it does hang over just a little bit. So I think I'm safe putting that over a bit. Here we are. And this is for our little piece. Remember with seal that the adhesive needs to break at the top. I must have pulled that one a little bit. It's off a little bit. For it to roll smoothly. So if you just end and pull it off with a 90-degree angle, it should work perfectly. Well, it'll work perfectly most of the time. And this one is going right. I am going to try and line it up a little bit top to bottom. There we are. We have our card. Then for our envelope, I have 2 pieces of paper. I guess I could get rid of that. There we are. An envelope is about 5 3/4 inches long, so I cut a piece 2 1/4 inches by the width of the envelope. And one of the things I know I'm always emphasizing, and you're probably going to get tired of me hearing, when you're going to put paper like this, designer series paper, on your envelope, you want to make sure it is well stuck down, because it needs to go through machinery. And if it doesn't go through well, the postal department does not appreciate it. So I try to make sure that all my corners are down and won't get stuck or mess up any of the machines. 2 1/4 inches is just about the right size so that I don't have a huge amount to cut off. So I don't feel like I'm wasting much. There we go. Almost got this done. And the same with a little stripe on the front. I love Happy Mail. When I got Tracy's letter, I was so thrilled. I thought also to be able to make it easier to figure out the metric for those of us who are not used to metric was great. Okay, we have an envelope, what I think is a very fun, happy card, plenty of room to write, and now I've got 2 of them to send. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to follow up with your demonstrator. We have our Sergio special with the DSP. And I think that's it. Happy crafting!